So today we're going to talk about tarot reversals. There's actually going to be two videos on this. The first one is, should I read tarot reversals? And the second one is, how to read tarot reversals. So hopefully by the end of these two videos, you'll have a few more answers and a few more ideas of whether you should read them and how you would if you are planning to read tarot reversals. Hi there, it's Ray with Tarot Living. Thanks so much for joining. So this is the channel where we talk about all things spiritual. So I am a tarot card reader, tarot instructor, astrologer, and I also do very intuitive, more psychic readings. So if you haven't subscribed already, then please do so, and also hit the bell notification so that you will know when I have posted a video. And additionally, you can join me on Facebook and Instagram, and all of the links are below. So today we're going to talk about tarot reversals. And in fact, there's going to be two tarot reversal videos. The first one is going to be this one, which is, should I read tarot reversals in my readings? And the second one is going to be on how to read tarot reversals. So if you see a card or a link above, then you know that that second video is also available. So let's talk about tarot reversals. This is actually a really hot subject in terms of, the tarot community. So I'm going to preface this by saying, first and foremost, that you do not have to read tarot reversals in order to be a good tarot card reader. There is kind of different ideas out there and different camps, I guess, of thinking, whether you must read tarot reversals in order to be a really adept tarot card reader. And then there's a lot of other people, very professional tarot card readers at that, who do not read tarot reversals. They choose not to. So tarot is a very complex subject matter, as we all know. There's enormous number of hidden symbols and meanings behind each card, and there are a number of correspondences that people use, and all of those correspondences and all those layers of meaning are like a tool in your toolkit as a tarot card reader. So some tarot card readers, like myself, we use a lot of astrological correspondences. Other people use the Tree of Life and really focus on those correspondences. Other people use elements or numerology more prominently than other correspondences. So each correspondence and each layer of meaning is like a tool in your toolkit, and tarot reversals are another one of those tools in your toolkit. So don't look at it like you must read tarot reversals. Look at it like, how many layers and meanings and symbolism and tools can I learn really well in order to improve my tarot card reading? And the more that I learn, the more I have to draw upon. So it's just one more tool in your toolkit. What I do know for sure, though, is that I've taught tarot for a number of years, and I have noticed that I can say for sure that the tarot reversals are much more difficult to manage if you are a beginner and you're not familiar with the upright meanings. And I say that because I really see the tarot reversed meaning as a true association to the upright meaning. So you want to be very familiar with your upright meaning and be comfortable with your upright meaning. And then you can understand more clearly what that card means in a reversed position. So I always say to my students, I always have a preamble of all of the things that I tell them at the very beginning. And one of the things that I say is that if you are a beginner and you do not know your tarot reversed meanings, consider everything upright today. So it's just something to consider, that you'd want to be really familiar with that. So ultimately, it's really up to you to make the decision of whether you want to read tarot reversals. So I hope I've kind of, empowered you in that way, that you don't feel like if I don't read them, I can't be a good tarot card reader. You can be a good tarot card reader without them, but with them, you can be even there's more precision, I guess would be the way of saying it for me. There's a little bit more precision. So in terms of reading tarot reversals, there's a lot of different methods out there. So for example, I'm going to give you a method that I don't use and that I even have a few questions about in terms of how people manage it. and then I'm going to give you the method that I use, and it probably is a method for beginners that would be a little bit easier. So the first method I'm going to talk about is what I've seen people doing online, or I've seen other people, in reality watching tarot card readers do. And that is that they have their tarot deck, and they actually will leave it in what I would call a topsy-turvy kind of positioning, where they don't mind the fact that half of the cards are going to be reversed and half of the cards are upright, and that's not a bother to them, and everything is topsy-turvy. And then they give it to the client, and the client shuffles, and and we'll go into that a little bit more. But that's basically the first idea, is that the deck remains in a topsy-turvy kind of fashion. For me personally, I don't do that, and I can't do that because I actually clear the deck before every client, or before a reading from myself or a family member. And part of me clearing the deck is actually putting them all completely upright. So that is my method, and then I'll talk to you in a few minutes about what I do to create reversals. However, a lot of people don't do that. They actually will keep them, in a topsy-turvy way. So there's different things to think about. If you are going to do that, you want to make sure that the client is shuffling those cards, and making sure that, as one person who was talking about tarot reversals online, it was a good method, I thought. Basically, you have the client take a chunk of the cards, so small packets of the cards, and then actually reverse them, and then take another packet and reverse them, so that their own hand has reversed certain cards. So it's not just going to be the reversals that were there when they started shuffling the deck, but that they are creating their own reversals. So that certainly you want to do. But the question that I have about that particular method, and this is where people who do that method, please leave messages below so that we can all learn. What I don't quite understand is which way you then think that the deck is upright. So if somebody is shuffling and the client has all of the cards and they're shuffling and they're done, and they hand it to you, so does that mean that you're going to take it right the way it is and then lay them out, or are you going to flip it like this? So you're considering whichever way they were holding it and they hand it to you, you're going to flip it so that then that becomes the way that you're holding it. And then you would lay the cards out. So that's something to consider, because you want to make sure that if you're deciding beforehand what is upright and what is reversed, because in fact it could be completely opposite depending on which way you take that deck back and which way you lay out the cards. I think other tarot card readers actually shuffle their own cards, and so that would probably take away that issue. But I don't do that. My clients all shuffle their cards completely, and then I actually have them lay them out in an accordion fashion, and they pick each card individually for each position. So I actually do it very hands-on with the clients. So that's why, for me, personally, that was a question that I had. So you can leave some messages below if you are somebody who actually does do that method. So something to really think about if you are going to use that method is that you're going to have half of the cards that are going to be reversed in the reading on average. So if you're going to do that, you want to be very, very comfortable reading reversals, and you also want to know those reverse meanings really well. And the reason I say that is, you're going to be struggling mentally to remember what the meanings are or figure out what the meanings are. And so it's going to be very time consuming and stressful. And B, I really feel, and I've heard this online from other vloggers, that that can be a real barrier in terms of not remembering or knowing the cards well. That can be a barrier for your intuition. So it is my contention and my belief that our intuition can really rise, and we can really have more information coming to us on an intuitive level if we are very familiar with the card meanings. Because we're not struggling mentally, we can actually remove that logical piece, and it just is innate of what the cards mean, and then we are actually allowing our intuition to come through. So if you're not familiar with the reversals, that's going to impede your intuition. And I have heard from other tarot card readers that they abandon it because of that very reason, that it was actually making their tarot card readings worse. It wasn't helping them at all. It was actually causing them to not be able to read as well. And of course, that would absolutely be true. If you don't know the meaning of the card reversed, you're not going to be able to draw upon it quickly, and you're going to be struggling, and you're also going to have your intuition will be impeded. So it's really something to consider, that if you're going to do half, this topsy-turvy method where half will be reversed, you want to be very knowledgeable about what those cards are going to mean when they're coming up, so that you don't feel like you're struggling during the reading. So it's something to consider. Okay, another method that you can use, which is the method that I use, and I use it actually for, I don't know, maybe 2 or 3 different reasons. The first reason that I use this particular method is because I like the client to have hands on everything that's going on with that tarot deck, because I think that whatever comes up, in any position, whatever card comes up, whatever card is reversed, is very much hands-on of what that client has touched and done to that deck. So that's the first reason. The second reason is that I really look at reversals as being a point of, whoa, like very poignant, very important when it comes up. And when you do a topsy-turvy method where half of them are reversed, it loses its poignancy for me, and it loses its importance, and it just feels like, well, so many are reversed, so how does that jump out at you as being super important, that particular card? But maybe other people don't look at the reversals necessarily as being, super important if, it comes up, because half of them are reversed. So they probably just look at them as being the different meaning. But I look at them that way. So for me, if half of them come up reversed, that would be like, wow, that would be a lot of reversals. So I'm going to talk to you now about the method that I use, and it may be something that you also want to do. So for me, because I have so many different tools that I'm using in terms of astrological correspondences, and I also read reversals based on position, what we call ill-dignified, and I'm using some Tree of Life correspondences and numerology, tarot reversals are just one tool that I'm using. So for me, the way that I do it, it works the best for me personally. So I have the entire deck is upright. As I said before, when the client starts, the client always shuffles, and then I actually ask them to intuitively and think about turning a number of cards around reversed as they're shuffling. So they do, and they will come up reversed, and then I know that's extremely important and very poignant because their hand actually reversed those cards. The other thing that you can do if you want, like say you want a quantity of around a quarter or a third of the deck reversed rather than a whole half, then you would have the client take the deck, which is all upright, remember, take the deck and they can create it into 4 different piles, for example. And then you would say, okay, I want you to pick one of those piles and then turn it reversed and then put all the cards back together. And so then you would have that quarter reversed. Now you have to remember to shuffle really, really well though, and make sure that they're mixed up really well. But that's one way that you can also have them do it, where there's a controlled fashion of how many, plus they're also picking a specific pile of cards that are going to be reversed. So for me, their hand being on that is really important. I want the client to be very tactile and very hands-on of the cards and picking the cards. So they are essentially in charge of the cards when I'm doing a reading. I do not actually touch the cards that much, except for laying them out, of course. Well, they actually hand it to me, and then I just turn them over. It's one of the methods that I use, and that's because I really believe that Spirit is working through them, and their guides are helping them, and they're being guided to pick certain cards and do things with the cards, let's say reversed. And I think it's just really important to have them, working on it hands-on. So that's the method I use. So then when the deck comes back to me, the majority of the deck is still going to be upright. So it's easy for me to know what is upright. So I still have an upright sense of the deck, but then we have a number of them that are reversed. So then we would go ahead and lay them out in an accordion, and then I have them pick them just as normally for the positions of whatever reading that we're doing. And then those cards would come up reversed. And there's always going to be, some reversals in a reading, but it's not going to be an overwhelming amount. And I find that that is just a perfect balance for me in terms of being able to add the nuance and the precision to my reading, but not holding me back, not weighing it down, not making it so that there isn't clear energy. And that for me is the most important thing, and it's the most prominent reason why I do it the way I do it, because I need everything to be clear energy from the beginning. That's just my method, and that's my style of doing it. So those are just some ideas for you in terms of should you read tarot reversals, some of the things to think about, and then in the next video I'm going to talk about really how to learn some of the tarot reversals and then how to work with it with more nuance. So this is just really an overview. I hope you found this helpful. Please don't forget to subscribe, hit the bell notification, and give me a like or a thumbs up on my video. Thanks so much for watching. Take care.